One team that didn't really make many moves this offseason was the 76ers. Many of us thought James Harden would have been dealt by now. Yeah, what did you rate their offseason, and how many games do you think they'll win moving forward, and what was your favorite signing?
So for the record predictor, I had them winning 50 games, so slight decrease from this year. So anywhere from the 4th to the 7th seed, I think be dependent on James Harden's future. Does he stay in that organization? And even if he does, is he going to be disgruntled and, be that miserable James Harden we saw at the back end of his New Jersey Nets. I'm going throwback. throwback vibes, New Jersey, baby. But Brooklyn Nets, the back end tenure that he had there. And I think, we don't know what to expect now. We're not going to get that Houston Rockets James Harden that we once got. So the grade that I gave him, obviously, I'm going to leave that to last, but I haven't even really decided on that because it's to be confirmed. We don't know what kind of move they're going to make. And I think, if Harden is traded, they get a good haul for him back. That could push their title hopes further than what we expect possibly. But it happens to be that he stays there. I think, you could possibly grade him anywhere from like C- and lower, even a D possibly. But in terms of who they lost, obviously they lost Jalen McDaniels to the Raptors, Shake Milton to the Wolves, and George Niang to the Cavs. 2 or 3 really solid role players there who played a significant part in their playoff run. I think the guys that they brought in, re-signing Paul Reed, bringing in a guy like Mo Bamba and Pat Beverley, we know what to expect from those 2 guys, but again, are they going to change the course of this particular franchise's fortunes? Probably not. But with Pat Bev, we know what we can expect from a guy like him. So, and then bringing in a coach with the caliber Nick Nurse has won a championship, defeated a really, really good Golden State Warriors team, obviously, albeit minus Kevin Durant. I think out of all the signings, that's probably my favorite one. I think they finally got that stability with their coach. There's not going to be any of that toxicity amongst Doc Rivers and the playing group, Joel, James Harden. There's always those question marks that were raised about the relationship between those 3 guys. So I think having him there, and he seems like a very people person and a really like player-oriented coach. So I think hopefully he can change the fortunes for them and really help push this franchise in the right direction to where they want to go. But in terms of some moves I'd like to see, like I mentioned, probably having James Harden be traded, hopefully get a solid deal back for him. I think he's past his best now, and I think if you, like I said, get the true value extracted out of him by getting him off the books, then I think that would be a big win for them. And to think they could have had Tyrese Halliburton only a couple of years ago in that whole Ben Simmons thing and still could have kept James Harden, to me is absolutely...
Yeah, Maxey...
they wouldn't have had James Harden, sorry.
Maxey would have been there? Maxey, Tyrese...
Yeah, Maxey would have been there, Tyrese and Joel Embiid. That big 3, knowing how good Tyrese Halliburton is now, is just ridiculous in my eyes. And now they've ended up with a disgruntled James Harden who wants out to the Los Angeles Clippers is beyond me. But... other moves possibly that he could make, again, getting Kelly Oubre on a veteran minimum deal.
You love Kelly.
I think it's a travesty that he hasn't been signed yet. I know he had a down year shooting the 3 ball, but I think any of these kind of teams could use his services, especially off the bench, add a guy that can score 20 points per game in this league and offer pretty good defensive help on that side of the ball. And I think it's just a no-brainer to sign him. But again, it's probably going to be dependent on whether he wants more money or, have a specific amount of money be paid to him. But I don't think he should be picky considering he's still unsigned at this point. But another couple of things, Terrence Davis maybe gets an opportunity. Nick Nurse gave him his first shot in the league. He had a good first season under Nick Nurse in that rookie year, shooting 38% from the 3. We know he's not a lockdown defender or he's not a lights out shooter, but in that sense, I think he's probably around a B on both ends of the floor. So that could still earn him some minutes, especially under Nick Nurse. And Tobias Harris owed $39 million this year, and there's a possibility he could walk away after this season for nothing because he's an unrestricted free agent going into next year. So maybe the Sixers look to offload him. I'm not saying that Tobias Harris is a bad player by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm just saying that, if you want to get something back for him, then I think right now is the best time to really maybe see what other teams would be willing to grab for Tobias Harris.
Yeah, 100%, and especially because he did shoot the ball so highly. Obviously, he's never going to live up fully to that contract, but what you're getting out of Tobias Harris, he said it himself, like only a few small forwards in the league offer like 40% from 3, with elite defense, with rebounding. Like, what he actually brings to the table is really solid. And to me, the fact that he gets like booed by Philadelphia 76ers fans is like beyond belief, because it's not like, you know, he gave himself that contract, he earned that contract, and ultimately he makes them a better team. So I do think a contending team, there would be a team out there who would like to have a guy like Tobias Harris at their disposal. So he's definitely able to be dealt, but his value is certainly not getting any higher by the day. On my end, Philadelphia 76ers, they got to absolutely hate me for this. Their fans, that is. I had them winning like 44 games. I know that might sound crazy. Losing 28 games, being like a 7th to 8th seed. I gave him a grade D because, look, you didn't keep Jalen McDaniels, who is a very good high upside guy who rebounds, plays defense, and can score. He's not the final product of what he can be in this league. I really do think he has very high potential. And then Shake Milton's a reliable guy. You lost a veteran presence like George Niang, who just seems like that good locker room leader. My favorite signing from the 76ers, if I could pick one, look, Mo Bamba. I don't think he's been the same. As a Lakers fan, I really wanted him to succeed, but he couldn't really get on the court all too much. And even his departure from Orlando, the final end of that, he didn't look too good. So, yeah, I have to go on the ways of Pat Bev just because he's a reliable leader, locker room guy, plays defense, gets after it. You can't hate that as a signing. And plus, he's had experience with James Harden playing alongside him. So maybe he can lure Harden to stay if they really want to have that last run. The reason I have him being so bad is because the hindering, I guess, topic of James Harden being at Philadelphia 76ers or not. And when I look at them going forward, if Harden doesn't want to be there and you have Tyrese Maxey and Joel Embiid moving forward, that isn't enough to be a contending team in the Eastern Conference. So, look, if you can get as many young assets or draft picks as you can for James Harden at this current point in time, being that his value isn't what it once was, being that MVP, NBA first team caliber player, he's not that anymore. Look, I think you could get 2 young stars and plenty of picks there. So if you could restart the process, maybe even do the same for Joel Embiid, that might sound wild as he is the MVP, but think about the haul that they could get for both those players with Tyrese Maxey. That just speeds up the process so much more. So yeah, it's not looking all too bad for the 76ers if Harden is to re-sign, but if he isn't going to re-sign, I don't think they're in the best position moving forward, because they're kind of in that middle stage where they're not really contenders, but they're also a playoff team, but the later end of the standings, I guess, in the playoffs. If you're not going to get anything for Joel Embiid, look, I think now's the time. His value's at the highest point it ever is. It doesn't hurt just seeing what's on the open market, not shopping him around, but just getting a gauge of what teams would be willing to give up, because who's to say, like, players don't remain one-team players for their careers. Think about all the greats besides Kobe, Duncan, Nowitzki. There's only a fair few guys who have been at one organization, so I wouldn't be surprised. I don't think you should be either if you're a Philadelphia 76ers fan if Joel ends up at a new city, because yeah, it's so difficult nowadays in the NBA, and I think every player secretly, you know, they want to win a championship. Who thought that like Dame would have been out of Portland potentially this season? I don't think many of us would if you were asked that 2 seasons ago. So yeah, that's just my take on it.
Hello, yes, you at home. This is Commissioner of the NBA speaking to you, Adam Silver. Here's a message in courtesy of Benchmob in collaboration with the NBA Store. When Benchmob hits 1,000 subscribers, they'll be giving away a free NBA jersey to a lucky subscriber. So just do all the things.